Yes, folks, the ban on Milo Yiannopoulos visiting Australia has finally been lifted. Yes, the so-called Free Speech Government, the Morrison Free Speech Government, that is, has finally lifted the ban. Have a look at this.
Milo Yiannopoulos will be allowed to enter Australia next month after the Immigration Minister decided to reverse his department's ban on the controversial alt-right speaker. It comes as the Prime Minister courts his own controversy over comments about women getting ahead.
His last visit sparked protests in 2017. And with a second tour planned, the Home Affairs Department opted to ban Milo Yiannopoulos from Australia following these scenes.
Oh, and who caused these scenes? Was it Milo or Antifa? The anti-fascist fascists.
And his divisive actions.
Feminism is a way for ugly women to elbow themselves into public life.
Yeah, feminism is a way for ugly women to elbow their way into public life. Quite true words. And that has caused alarm? Has that caused offence? Did that make the sensitive New Age lefties run to their safe spaces?
The department can block someone from entering the country if they are likely to incite discord in the community. But the Immigration Minister was unconvinced and will now reverse the ban on the alt-right speaker.
Free speech is important in Australia.
This is a bloke who's described feminism as a cancer and Islam as AIDS. Do we
feminism as a cancer and Islam as AIDS? True on both counts.
really want these ideas?
The backflip after a number of Liberals and Conservative commentators called for the contentious figure to be allowed in.
They're not acting in the interest of Australians.
Oh, not acting in the interest of Australians. Who said that? Oh, that's right. You said that. Whose thought is that? Oh, that's your thought. It's not my thought, it's your thought. You don't like to hear my thought.
I don't think him coming to Australia is in the interest of Australians.
But the impending visit comes with this warning.
When people come to our country, we expect them to respect Australia and Australians, our values, our multicultural society.
Oh, our multicultural society. Respect our multicultural society. Well, that is code for don't say anything negative about Islam. Anyway, right now we'll go and have a listen to Andrew Bolt just prior to this announcement where Milo has now been permitted into Australia, and see what he has to say.
Surprised last week to read that the Morrison government had this Egyptian sheikh come tour Australian mosques, even though he's mocked the September 11 attacks that killed nearly 3,000 innocent people, and also the Charlie Hebdo terror attacks in Paris as comedy films. Here is this Sheikh Omar Abdelkafi 3 years ago.
Okay, this play, to which the Muslims are subjected ad nauseum across the world, is a sequel to the comedy film of 9/11. What a wonderful man to let into Australia.
الممجوجة التي تحدث للمسلمين في مشرق الأرض ومغربها هي الجزء الثاني من الفيلم الهزلي 11 من سبتمبر. يكشفون
And soon you will find out that the Paris attacks were a comedy show in which we played no part. My God.
يكشف لكم الحقائق قريبا أن هذه تمثيلية هزلية لا ناقة لنا فيه.
And this sheikh has also denounced Jews and Christians. Now, the reason I am surprised is that this dangerous fantasist was allowed in is because of this. The same Morrison government won't let in Milo Yiannopoulos, a gay man, an author, a libertarian, a provocateur, who's never excused terrorism or engaged in wild conspiracy theories about who actually done it. As I told you last week, Yiannopoulos cannot get a visa so far for his own speaking tour here because the Immigration Department says he was controversial and rude the last time he came, which he was, and so what? But the main objection to him, or at least the very first one listed in the document sent to Milo, is that when he comes here, the left gets violent, like it's all his fault. It's told him, despite the locations of your previous appearances being withheld by the organisers until 24 hours prior to the events, there were still significant protests at both the Sydney and Melbourne event.
Yeah, the protest at the Melbourne event involved violence between those protesting and your supporters. You were issued with a bill of $50,000 by the Victoria Police for the costs of policing your event. So Milo is supposed to pay $50,000 to police this event, but the protests were not caused by Milo. They were caused by Antifa, the leftist fascists. So they caused the riots, they caused the protest, and he has to pay. Yep, that's left-wing thinking for you.
The protests at the Melbourne event involved violence between those protesting and your supporters. Well, what this actually means is that the violence by the left, because they initiated it, and they were the perpetrators of most of it, if not all, this means if the left starts bashing your audience or attacking you, then you can't come in. It's your fault, which means in this case, the Morrison government is the political arm of Antifa, the fascist left.
Exactly. Yeah, the Morrison government is supporting Antifa.
Joining me is someone who has also been the target of violent protests and has lobbied for a visa for Milo Yiannopoulos, is One Nation leader Pauline Hanson. Pauline, thank you so much for joining me, and I should give a shout out to the folks watching behind you. We're just about to address a meeting at the top of the town pub in Burnie. Hello, people in the pub.
Good on her. She's still got some fight in her.
Give a big yell and I might hear you outside. Pauline, why do you care about this issue?
Andrew, I can go back 22 years ago when when I was having my meetings, everyone wanted to shut me down from having my say. And I believe that we're heading down the path of a socialist agenda in this country where they're actually wanting to control us and strip away our democracy and people having the right to have a say. Over the years, they've actually installed people into positions, whether it be council, whether it's state governments and possibly into our federal parliaments as well, that people to overrule and have their own dictatorship and suppressing the people. That concerns me greatly because this is a country of democracy and people should have their say. Freedom of speech is very important to me. That's why I never gave in and I kept going. I saw people come to my meetings, the pensioners, the aged, they had, condoms of urine thrown at them.
They had condoms of urine thrown at them. These left-wing people are very, very nice, aren't they? Yeah, folks, Australia is in deep shit. It's in trouble. Really, really in trouble. And the Morrison government is not helping one bit. Australia is turning into a socialist country, and the same applies in New Zealand. We have the exact same fascist mobs ruling this country as well.